Oh, yeah. In the effort to get this channel demonetized at the beginning. Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Jump into Crypto episode. What episode is this? Goodness gracious. Episode 1304, 1304. Today is Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. And I am King here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto every day, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. ish. And today's top stories. New York Stock Exchange ARCA proposes rule change to list Bitwise Dogecoin ETF. IMF deal to ban public sector Bitcoin accumulation in El Salvador. Bybit hacker launders 100% of stolen $1.4 billion of crypto in 10 days. Yuga Labs says the SEC has dropped its investigation in the NFT firm. SEC drops lawsuit against Kraken, ending politically motivated campaign. And Coinbase files FOIA to see how much the SEC's war on crypto costs and more. But first and foremost, of course, let's go ahead and look at those prices. And like I told you yesterday, man, oh man, oh man. Look, the world realized how politics actually work and things don't happen overnight. Trade deals were being made. And effectively, you saw the price of crypto take a dive with the market. Again, no big deal to me, non starter. The value is still there in the valuable projects when you're looking at things like Bitcoin. So the USD price does not matter. One Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin. All right, let's see what we're looking at today. Woo! Look at that dive. It actually pumped a little bit back up. Bitcoin is at $82,768, down 7.68%. Ethereum's at $2,067, down 9.5%. Number 4, Ripple at $2.34, down 9.2%. Solana at number 6 at $135, down 13.6%. Number 8, Cardano, 81 cent, down 14%. Still up 27% on the week. Dogecoin down at 19 cent, down 10.5%. And Tron at number 10 at 23 cent, down 2.4%. A couple things I want to throw out there. First and foremost, shout out to Tron. Didn't think I'd be saying this anytime soon. Tron is one of those tokens that is actually, I've heard people talk about, I think even a couple of our warriors, I think Black Root talks about Tron every now and then, somebody does, but Tron is one of those tokens that is actually, to me, showing value, right? I know people actually use the platform, the project, and some of the different apps and things of the sort. B, regardless of what Bitcoin price has been doing, if you really look at the trends and charts the last few months when Bitcoin's pumping or dumping, whatever, Tron is kind of ticking along steadily, just doing this 3 to 5% dumps and pumps or whatever, going back and forth from that sideways movement. So I would actually give Tron credit out of every other altcoin in the top 10 because they've been sticking around this same percentage or this same price point at 20 cent, 23, 20, 25 cent, and haven't had much movement. A and B, that price point at that 20 cent they've actually earned it. If you remember, this has kind of been a gradual buildup. I remember talking about Tron late last year when they kind of started really well, not late, they were in the top 10 throughout the year, but when they really signified that they were going to be staying in the top 10, I was like, wow, like Tron's really just staying in the top 10. They're gradually increasing or whatever. So you do see here again in the last year, they did get that crazy pump that everyone got. But before that, again, they had a slow. You can see this graph coming from the top of 24. They were steadily going up anyway. Top of 24, April, March of 24, they're at 12 cent. And you can see this sideways movement. You go a few months later, June, 12 cent, 13, 14, 15 by, was it 15 cent by September before the president thing even happened. You keep going by October, November, you got 16 cent, and then it gets this actual spike to where it hit 42 cent in that one day as all the coins spiked. But it came back down and settled down at 20 something cent. And that's kind of where it should have been as far as its natural progressive growth or whatever. So I'll actually give Tron some points of showing its own value and not saying it isn't. It definitely is still tethered to Bitcoin like everything else, right? Bitcoin does like a 50 to 60% nosedive. I fully expect Tron to dive with it. However, just looking at how it's been performing as Bitcoin has been taking these dips and these pumps and dips and going through everything, Tron stayed pretty steady. You can't say the same thing about Ethereum, which is why I keep telling you all the party's over for these folks. But if anything, Tron has stayed pretty steady the last year and a half, year or so. So shout out to them, whatever they're doing in the background. Now, to get to the fear and greed index, wow, like a whole 10 points has been wiped off in a day. We're down to 24. This is another reason why, like, to me, this is a great sign that the masses still don't know about crypto or Bitcoin, folks. If today the fear and greed index is at a 24 instead of an 86. When you're, I mean, literally, you just have people within 24 to 48 hours ago feeling like they missed the boat. Oh my God, this is happening. It's happening. Cardano just did 70%. Ethereum's pumping. Like, just 24 to 48 hours ago, people felt like they were missing the boat and the pump was coming. And within a day, everybody's like, okay, no, it's over. The party's over. I saw a Cointelegraph article saying essentially like why Bitcoin is like gold's overtaking Bitcoin and why it's not a store of value anymore at $82,000. Like, I couldn't believe I was reading the article. It's by William something. I wanted to call him out, but I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna put this article up. But my point is this: we are still early, and there is still a ton of people who don't know what they're doing, because today is the day the greed should be high and people should be excited and buying, because you are literally getting a discount. You just saw the price pump off of a news story. It wasn't even off of actual events that happened, off of a speculative news story. You saw the price again, some tokens going 70%. On average, you're seeing 30% for tokens. And now today you're seeing them what, 15% off, 20% off. This is a deal. This should be a very high fear and greed index, but we're not seeing it. Bitcoin dominance has slipped below 60% again, 59.99%. And Ethereum dominance is screaming for help. It's a national emergency, 9.11. That's my 9/11 joke. All right. Other than that, those are your prices on the day. Let me go ahead and get this chat cracking so I can give my what up does to everybody in the chat and to all these great warriors. And hey, I'm back, baby. I'm back. I got my Kramer on. Today we got the Kramer, we got the gadgets, we got the gadgets. Oh, contraindicator Kramer is back, baby. No, but my indicators are good. Kramer is back, baby. I was like, man, when the last time I took out the white shirts? You know what I'm saying? I started making too much crypto, folks. I could just wake up when I want, wear hoodies all day. I had to get back to it. You know, I like to be in suits and blazers and button ups. You know what I mean? Where I grew up, people didn't dress like this. I love it. Asti B, what up, though? Ali P.O., Only Bitcoin, Enzo, Lord, hey, Enzo no said King with the fresh Kramer on. You already know. Listen, my OG warriors, you know what I'm talking about right now. I had to get into my Kramer vibes today. Lord Smith, what up, though? Let's see. If you know, you know. C.A. Allen, what's up? Your fintech insider. I like that name. Wisdom Bars. Good morning, Humney. Super Mario. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let's go ahead and get this show rolling. I told myself I was going to try to start saying that 30 minutes. Man, you know, I'll be getting on these tangents and rants. I'm already at 8 minutes right now. It's crazy. But luckily today, there is a lot of short news stories. A lot of the stories are in the headlines themselves. Like this first one, we have to talk about New York Stock Exchange. ARCA proposes rule change to list Bitwise Dogecoin ETF. Okay. I'm not going through this whole story because it doesn't matter. The important parts is this. You got the New York Stock Exchange folks talking about Dogecoin ETFs. What do you think is going to happen next? You know what I mean? Like, that is the story itself. They've been beating on the door for how long? They've given it, of course, to Bitcoin. I believe, does Ethereum have an official one right now? I think Ethereum has an official ETF. I got to check to make sure. I do believe they do have at least one, but I could be off. But the point is, everyone's beating at the door. We just had talked about yesterday. Solana futures are coming now on the 17th. This isn't a maybe, that's coming. So the derivatives are happening. I mean, we predicted this for the last few years. This is the moment. It's happening. I do, once again, want to reiterate what I said yesterday. Derivatives like this, a Dogecoin ETF on the New York Stock Exchange or whatever, anything associated with that. Like I said, I'm not even reading the details of the story because it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters of the story is that you're considering making a Dogecoin derivative, and you're going to place that Dogecoin derivative in front of the eyes of hundreds of thousands of institutions and investors out there, and they're going to do whatever they do. I won't rant. I told myself I won't rant. A Dogecoin ETF, we all know the ludicrousy of it. And the reason why is because a small portion of people control majority of the wallets of that network. And you could just print as much Dogecoin as you want, essentially. So an ETF really doesn't make, you know, a Dogecoin ETF reminds me of a Terra Luna algorithmic stablecoin. Boom, there you have it. Backed by Bitcoin, by the way. It reminds me of a crypto reserve, a United States crypto reserve with assets that don't have products or projects like Cardano. That's what a Dogecoin ETF reminds me of. So again, I'm not tripping. Again, I'm not fighting the market or the consensus at this point. This is what the market wants. This is what we're getting. But I do want to make everyone aware you might actually get a Dogecoin to the dollar with this. And you need to understand how scary that is, not only for the crypto market, but for the traditional market. I'm telling you, The bubble is starting to form. Hopefully, it lasts the next few years while this administration is here. But again, if it 2.5 years, it popped at this aggressive rate, it wouldn't catch me off guard. But hopefully, we can go another 4 years with it. But I'm telling you now, this bubble is forming official. People, a Dogecoin ETF. If you do a Dogecoin ETF, you have to do so many other ETFs. You have to do so many other altcoins. All right. And if your only I guess barrier to entry is market cap, because I know that's what they were talking about at first. It's all about money, right? They're essentially saying it has to be worth enough for us to invest in the regulatory side of it and to make more money on it, right? Uh, but it's not hard to pump a project. We saw it was a ton coins financial years where 18 of them were able to pick up or pull out like $1.7 billion between 18 people or organizations. Like, this isn't far-fetched for 30 to 50 people to say, fine, let's pump fart stripper, whatever coin, and let's go ahead and get an ETF to go with it. Like, just to do it. If I were a billionaire with free time, like the Elon Musk types, I would do it to be funny. He's already doing it to be funny. He made a whole entire government organization, United States, called Doge. I still don't know how it's here or how it's being ran by a South African, but here we are. And now we're having a Dogecoin ETF. Like, the next funny thing would be for one of these billionaires who are pissed off at the US to say, fine, if all it takes is market cap, I will put $600 million into stinky farts armpits coin, and we're going to run that thing on the New York Stock Exchange. We're going to have y'all Monday morning CNBC, 60 Minutes, everything else talking about farts, armpits, too short, too tall coin. Okay. Like, that is the direction we're headed. If that's not a bubble, I don't know what is. This is, in fact, this, if this were like the housing bubble, it wouldn't be based off loans. It would be based off houses being built on weak foundations and with weak building equipment. It would almost be like, yo, you built a plastic house on sand. Like, you do realize this won't last, and someone giving you a straight face, like, no, it's fine. It's fine. Look, it's a house. There's no wind gets in, no rain. It's perfect. And they're telling you with a straight face that this plastic house on sand is fine because it's worth $20 million. You know, this is a $20 million plastic house on sand, bro. It's not just a regular plastic house on sand. Duh. It's a $20 million plastic house on sand. That is all Dogecoin ETF is, as well as a Solana future, as well as a Cardano Bitcoin reserve asset. These are all plastic houses on the sand. And there can only be one outcome. I want to be clear about this. Like, yeah, you can make money in the short term, next year or two, whatever. They're buying the bags by buying derivative products. If you're on the derivative side, you're settling in cash. The game can only go on for so long, folks. I just told you they tried to essentially inflate the crypto price yesterday with that announcement, just so the next day after that, they can give you the bad news. Could you imagine if he didn't say we're going to have a Bitcoin or a crypto reserve on Sunday, and then yesterday on Monday, you got the tariff and trade news? We will be looking at a $68,000, $69,000 Bitcoin right now. That was market manipulation by like the president of the United States for the crypto market. Shout out to the president. Not mad at that. But I want to be clear. That was market manipulation at a grand scale by the president. I called it yesterday. I was like, wait. Why are you making these type of announcements on Sunday mornings or whatever? Like, that don't make sense. When has politics ever made announcements like that unless it's national emergency or national security? So for them again to come out and say on Sunday, hey, crypto reserve, we're gonna have all these basket of goods in it. That's shit products. And then on Monday to say, gotcha. And you see this price. Like I said, this is being manufactured to prop the price for as long as possible. It's getting weaker. We relied on institutions, but the one thing, oh my goodness, did we get I mean, I was gonna say the name out loud, but it is a token. That's my point. The Come Rocket. Yeah, you remember Come Rocket. What happens when we get a Come Rocket ETF? I can't believe this. But the bottom line is this. The government is now working with the exchanges and other big billionaire crypto folks in the effort to prop this market. They're doing it for themselves personally so they can continue to make their money. Remember, the president had a meme coin. Some of his backers, you look at Coinbase, who really backed the election. I mean, I was even a part of that with the sponsorship we had here. But like, yeah, everyone in return wants a healthy or a fun, fair crypto market. And that is what we're getting. Now, the only issue with that is, like I said, they're doing so much to make up for the last 4 to 6 years of terribleness. Now it's almost like you guys are forming a bubble. Like, in an effort to be nice and to placate everyone, you're forming a bubble. And to be real, it's like a 50-50 thing where it's not the administration's fault because technically they are being leaders in the fact that they're listening to their constituents, even though it's like a handful of them, of billionaires. They are listening to their constituents and they're doing what they want as far as the crypto side of the house. But on the flip side, is like that is where you have to have that delicate balance of having experts in government or having the right leadership in government to say, hey guys, we're about to form one of the biggest bubbles of mankind right now. Like I hope you realize we're about to form a bigger bubble than the 2008 financial crisis with the houses. Like this is going to be way worse than some subprime mortgage loans that get the bad rating. You are literally talking about tokens that you can make from proof of, not even proof of stake. Like I don't even know if they're doing I don't even know what they're doing these days, right? Like you can just make tokens out of thin air and you're gonna give them an ETF to go with it while you're printing dollars. Oh man, what could go wrong? I love it. Hey, shout out to 2025. We are getting crazy now. Jake Fever said, chill out. My mom was raised in a plastic house. So I'm saying, my fault, man. All right. They said I want in. Exactly. Get in while you can. Fart stripper, priest coin to the moon. 2 times leverage long on Bitcoin is easy money. 3 times long is semi-safe money. I would actually agree with that. Going long on Bitcoin right now it has been good, especially when it's taking these huge dips. However, like I said, we kind of got to wait to see first if BlackRock and that new $150 billion portfolio switch, when are they going to activate that button, right? When are they going to make that pivot to rebalance some funds from the steel reserve over to crypto, right? So whenever that actually happens, that will be a nice little pump. We'll see another 10% or so pump to it. But outside of that, the crypto reserve, I guess, is the next big news. And hopefully, this attack on the SEC, I think, will also continue to bolster the confidence in the market. And you'll see prices gradually rise just off the strength of like people are trying to. I was over here brainstorming this morning. I'm not joking about this token stuff, folks. It's time to move forward because it is what it is, right? I was over here brainstorming things this morning because this is like now is the time. If you wanted to be an innovator, I wanted to be an innovator years ago, and the SEC and other agencies put a stop to it. So now is the time to innovate again, folks. Get back to the drawing boards. All right. IMF. I keep telling you, governments around the world, not just the US, they do not plan for 5 years. They don't plan for 10 years. They're planning for the next 50 to 100 years. They're planning to say, hey, United States, for example, regardless if it's a Democrat or Republican that's going to be in office in the year 2060, one thing's going to be for sure. We're going to be stealing some oil. We're going to be bombing somebody. It doesn't matter who the president's going to be. This is what I try to tell you when I was like, they're the same people. It doesn't matter. One thing's for certain, two things for sure, three things is going to happen. Bombs and stealing of oil will happen the next however many years America is America. All right. So governments being governments and telling you one thing and then gradually doing different things, which is why I'm already looking at this derivatives market and these ETFs with the raised eyebrow. Because my whole thing is like right now they're saying it's back 1-to-1, but once people get comfortable and certain cryptos or projects don't have the liquidity they want or whatever it is, the tokenomics, they're going to say, well, it's not 1-to-1 anymore. Now it's going to be 10 derivatives to one, or maybe it's going to be a million derivatives to one. Like they are going to fractionalize it. They're going to break it down. Why? Because you can make more money that way. And this is all about money for a lot of these folks' moves. I say all that to say the IMF has already added some asterisks to the deal they had with El Salvador. If you remember, recently they just made a deal with El Salvador. Hey, you guys kind of lay off the Bitcoin and we'll come back and give you some money, sponsor you, blah, blah, blah. El Salvador says, sure, we will, but they instead kept buying Bitcoin. IMF came back with a slap. They are making this official. They don't even, IMF said, we want to be overstood. We don't want to sugarcoat this anymore. The IMF has issued new requests under its $1.4 billion deal with El Salvador, aiming to restrict Bitcoin purchases by the public sector. Wow. You know what? One thing I didn't pull up today. Hold on. I'm about to pull this up right now because we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. I know most of you all are OGs, but for the people who are listening on the podcast, usually they're the new folks. So we're going to pull something up right now. I'm about to share this tab. This is the Bitcoin white paper. You know, I love to revert to it. The Bitcoin white paper, 9 pages. You can see at the top, it is 9 pages. The ninth page, which I'm scrolling to, the ninth page is a paragraph and a half of references. So you are essentially saying 8 pages. It's an 8-page thing. And if you don't feel like reading the 8 pages, there's a paragraph and a half, 2 paragraphs at the beginning that tells you everything that's in those 8 pages, right? I know a lot of people still have not read the Bitcoin white paper, but they claim they're expert. That's what we really, you know what? Ooh, hey, get me to the White House, folks. Get me to the White House or to one of these meetings because I am going to put everyone on the spot. What is the first line of the Bitcoin white paper? That's all I'm going to ask everyone. I'm literally going to just be in these meetings, these task forces, whoever's in charge, President Trump. What's the first line of the Bitcoin white paper? If you can't answer that question, you shouldn't be allowed to talk Bitcoin and crypto, point blank, period. But, and the reason why I say is because it thoroughly explains why the market is in the shape it's in when things go wrong. A purely, it doesn't say a sometime, a maybe, a possibly. It says a purely, puro. This is that straight cut, okay? A purely peer-to-peer version, excuse me, I can't read. A purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. An exchange is a financial institution by the government itself these days. A crypto exchange is a financial institution. A purely peer to peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. And now the IMF are saying, hey, you can't even use a financial institution, or excuse me, I'm saying it backwards. You can't even go peer to peer anymore. You can't do it yourself. You have to use a financial institution. This is why the governments and these big institutions, these multi-billionaires who want to take over the network, their version would never work because it literally like the first line of the white paper, we're doing it wrong. You're trying to use an exchange. The first line of the white paper said this wasn't built to be used on an exchange or at a financial institution, yet we're doing it. So back to the IMF, they know all this. They read the Bitcoin white paper, which is why they're trying to slow down or at least stop or slow down this thing. They're saying, hey, we want to restrict these purchases by the public sector. How crazy is that? Something that was made by the public sector that was once looked down upon as being fake, not even real. Then it was looked down upon as being only for criminals. Then it was only for porn stars. And it was just bash. It was the red-headed stepchild, as they say. Finally, it grows up into the beautiful swan or whatever. And boom, all the regulation comes. Now the regulation is saying, hey, the public sector can't even play this game. I wonder who was the first person who told y'all that. I wonder who told y'all back in the day when they started a podcast, hey, you better get in now. And this I know for a fact I was one of the first people to say it. I was one of the first people, Coinbase banned on Coinbase. I was banned on Coinbase back in 2016. I did nothing wrong but buy Bitcoin. I was buying Bitcoin for $300, $330. They banned me after like however many Bitcoin I bought. They literally kicked me off the exchange and sent me packing. Bank of America was interviewing me, and that's when I knew I was in the right market. I was like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. How y'all kicking me off of the exchange? Why is banks pulling me? I'm like, at this time, I'm like, I'm okay. I mean, I do all right. I was a military officer, but I'm not like I'm not buying mansions and Ferraris and stuff. Like, I'm doing okay. So that's when I knew the fix was in, and here we go. I mean, folks, this is huge news because you are crazy if you think the IMF are the only ones talking about this in the United States, isn't that simple? You are crazy if you think IMF isn't using El Salvador as a test ground to see if we can eliminate this crypto stuff or at least slow it down between the individuals that partake in it and keep it toward institutions and only their wealthy friends. You are absolutely crazy. And these talks are happening at 80 to 100K. Like the ship hasn't sailed, but it's left the dock, right? We're already in deep. It's too deep to pull into the dock anyway. So we're already out there. All right. We're anchored, but we haven't set sail, but we're out there already. All right, let's get back to it. On March 3rd, the IMF issued a new request for an extended arrangement. You tricky MFs under its fund facility to El Salvador, filing several new documents, including a staff statement update and a statement by its executive director for El Salvador. The technical memo of understanding indicated a condition of no voluntary accumulation of Bitcoin by the public sector in El Salvador. Additionally, the memo requested a restriction of public sector issuance of any type of debt or tokenized instrument that's indexed to be denominated in Bitcoin and implies a liability to the public sector. Wow. So again, without even going into details, um, yeah, they without going into details, they put it out there. They don't want the public using Bitcoin. They're making it illegal, or they're asking El Salvador to essentially make it illegal or restrict it. Um, that is crazy. And that's crazy. The craziest part is this comes after the deal. This comes after they've already pinned the deal. Okay, we'll do it. Oh, by the way, can y'all make a couple of changes and amendments to it? Oh, what would you like? Yeah, nobody in your country can buy Bitcoin no more. Wait, what? Yeah, nobody buys Bitcoin, but we'll give you the money right now. Like, no, keep the money. The Bitcoin's been working. Like, that is why we have Bitcoin now. And you know what? Honestly, to keep it all the way real, and this is where I I gotta do my research. Who is the IMF? Who backs them? Like, who are these people with the money? Because they're not a country. Am I like, let me know in the chat. The IMF isn't a country, right? Because from El Salvador's point of view, like I know you want the money. All right. I'm trying to see the best way to say it. There's two ways to go about this. IMF, you trying our patience, get out our backyard before we go to war. Or how about we just take the money anyway and we go to war, IMF? Like, what are we talking about? Isn't El Salvador a country? I don't know how powerful they are, but what is this type of pressure the IMF is pushing? If I was El Salvador's leader, Bukele, oh man, hey, yeah, let's have a meeting. We need to have a one-on-one meeting. I'm still in shape right now. We need to have a one-on-one meeting with the head of the IMF. I know he's about 80 years old. You might want to bring your security player. You're not going to be punking my entire country, telling us what we can and cannot do. What like that is crazy. You literally have a financial, which I'm sure there are a bunch of crooks and criminals who got some gangsters on their belt too, the IMF. But essentially, you got a financial group of people telling an entire, really a president of an entire country, hey, tell your people they can't do this no more, and we'll give you some money. No one sees nothing wrong with this. To me, this is a call for war. This is a war call. This is a war call, or what? Like, why would you even be What if I was brash enough to walk into your house, right? I walk into your house and tell you, hey, brother, I'm gonna give you $100,000, but your wife and kids can't spend, they can't make no more money, right? Your cousins, your wife, your kids, your friends, your whole family, everybody in this house, nobody else can work, but I'll give you 100K. Like, granted, some people if they're in dire restraints would take that deal, but if you already got 50 to 60K in Bitcoin, you'd be like, no, they're gonna do what they want to do. We're gonna do what we want to do. You're not gonna just come in here as a stranger and tell my family what we're gonna do. But that's happening with the IMF, or at least that's what's almost attempting to happen with the IMF in El Salvador. El Salvador stands strong. I think they will, but we'll see what happens next. The gumption of the IMF even doing this has caught me off guard. Story is in the headline. Bybit hacker launders 100% of stolen $1.4 billion in crypto in 10 days. Here's the deal. I know the guy quit from Thorchain, and they're saying right now out of that $1.4 billion, only I think like 200 million is left traceable at this point. The rest is like has vanished. And they're saying they're working with a lot of people to, excuse me, they're working with a lot of people to stop that 200 million from also moving. Of course, I don't like hackers and scammers. Of course, I hope good old investigative work can stop this. But the bottom line is you're not going to stop it from the project or platform side because the cat's out the bag and a lot of this stuff is open source. So what? You stop Thorchain, the new Thorchain version 2 pops up, name something different. Like the cat's out the bag with the technology. So now we have to do better things to protect the crypto instead of relying on investigative work or trying to trade. Like once the money gone is gone, especially if you're talking about if this really is North Korean hackers, there's not a lot you can do about it, right? Like to be real. Um, Especially Bybit. Bybit is not an American company. So I don't even know who were they messing with Singapore? Y'all can't do nothing about it. Like there's nothing you can do about it. So I think we need to start worrying about more on prevention because once that thing happens, it's gone. It's not about trying to stop Thorchain or trying to stop these platforms. It's about what the first line the Bitcoin white paper is about. It's not supposed to be going through a financial institution yet. We're centralizing it on exchange. Things are going to happen. This comes with centralizing and honeypotting your crypto. So again, it's a non-story or stories in the headline. The hacker, 100% of $1.4 billion has been laundered in 10 days. And y'all think you're going to stop the crypto train. Ha, ha. It's not happening. All right. To the SEC, they're officially under attack. All these stories, headlines are the story themselves. First up, Yuga Labs says SEC has dropped its investigation into the NFT firm. They said they dropped their probe into the NFT conglomerate, which the agency, listen to this, the SEC first started this investigation in late 2022, and here we are at 2025, and they just dropped it. I just want you to know that. Next story up, SEC drops lawsuit against Kraken, ending politically motivated campaign. The drop lawsuit follows the dismissals of other SEC lawsuits. As well as you can see here, March 3rd, the move ends with the exchange called a wasteful, politically motivated campaign and, quote, clears the path toward a stable, forward-thinking regulatory regime. According to Kraken, the lawsuit is being dismissed with prejudice, with no admission of wrongdoing, no penalties paid, and no changes to Kraken's business. I want to reiterate one more thing. I really hope Reggie Middleton get his just dues. And the reason is because the day the SEC went after Veritasium and shut them down, and Reggie Middleton did not admit any wrongdoing, but he did pay a fine because the extortion was real. And I think we're all seeing that now. A few people might owe Reggie some apologies. Um, is I think it was a day or two later. I think it was 24 hours later. I covered it, so I had to go back to it. But 24 to 48 hours later, maybe 72 hours later, I don't want to say it was a New York Stock Exchange, but some big New York company launched their version of Veritasium. So the SEC went after Veritasium. He didn't admit wrongdoing. He paid a fine, and then within like 3 days, like a New York-based conglomerate company pushed out their version of Veritasium. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. One of y'all in the chat know for sure, but they pushed out their own version of it. So it's like kind of like night and day. Like, did y'all just knock somebody out the game to put it in your own player? But I say all that to say this: the last story of the day, which kind of piggybacks off those other two, is the Coinbase one. Coinbase files FOIA to see how much the SEC's war on crypto costs. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And by the way, this goes to prove my point, folks. Listen, this time we do know which came first, the chicken or egg. I've been saying this. Coinbase folks, they know. I know some folks at Coinbase. Hey, tell Brian to come on the show. Brian, you welcome to come on the show. I'm gonna give you a little tongue lashing. Coinbase lawyers, Gruwall, y'all come on the show. I'll call them up. They be watching me, folks. They know what time it is. Coinbase is saying, hey, that wasn't a bad idea. Let's go. I talked about. They say it's not a bad idea. Coinbase chief legal officer Paul Gruwall says the firm will do what it takes for as long as it takes. Ooh, to get the information from the securities regulator for as long as it takes is what I like to hear.
We're not gonna take it.
Exactly. Crypto exchange Coinbase is seeking to discover how much the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission spent on enforcement action against crypto firms. Coinbase legal chief officer Paul Gruwall said in the March 3rd statement to X after watching my show on the day before. I mean, just shout me out, Paul. All right, somebody in your office watching my show. That the request under the Freedom of Information Act was submitted to the SEC to find out how many investigations and enforcement actions were brought against crypto firms between April 17, 2021 through June 20th, 2025. Oh, hold on real quick. I just want to see this real. I got to see something. Hold on. I'm not even going to say it now. I got to look it up. When I got to see something because, oh, man. I'm about to share this tab with what I just searched, and I'll say it out loud for the folks watching. I quickly Googled, when did Coinbase go public? On April 14, 2021, Coinbase became a public company. Like I said, here's the deal, folks. Some of the things Coinbase are doing right now, yes, it's helping the crypto market in a positive way, but they're not doing it for the crypto market. They are. How did I know that quick? Like, I haven't even seen the story yet. I need to cut this off. We're at 30 minutes. I'm about to cut it off. I didn't even see the story yet, and I knew to look at this. I was like, hold on. I was like, why start in 2021? Was my first thought, because really you should start, I would say 2018. I'll give the government to see that's compromise. I'll give the government 2016 and 2017. Okay. And everything before that. 2017 before you didn't know what you're doing. I get it. Technically, it was national security. You got ICOs going for $250 million. Who are these people with this money? I get it. I get it. I won't hold you accountable, United States government, 2016, 2017. 2018 on? Come on, man. Those are some vicious attacks. Those are some vicious attacks. I would say 2018 forward. There is a reason why Coinbase is only doing it from the date they went public. I don't know those reasons. I'm not a lawyer as far as the legalities and everything, but I'm guaranteed, like, oh, actually, I do know the reason. Because wait, when did Bitcoin Cash launch? Last thing you want is the government to look into that, right? Coinbase, all that insider trading, all that stopping trades. They said, no, we don't want to go too far back. We want to keep it when we went public and started doing the right thing. So, like I've been saying about Coinbase, whatever, this FOIA request will be good for everyone. I hope it leads to people getting charged with treason or at least getting prison sentences and fine. I know it probably won't, but I hope so. Again, it does help the overall market, but don't be crazy and think Coinbase is doing this because, yeah, we're here for the crypto market. No, they're here for Coinbase. They really said from 2021. I had to Google it immediately. I'm like, wait. That's such an odd year. And then I was like, wait, what year did they go public? You're not fooling anybody, Coinbase. There's just not enough smart people to challenge you publicly. All right, it is what it is. That is the show for today. I did better. I only went 5 minutes over. Last couple of comments. Oh, man. Y'all say you ain't apologizing. Y'all funny. IMF moved like a gang, money, muscle, and guns. You already know it. The top men run it. World Bank and IMF are bookies for the world. Look, I keep telling y'all think Trump is bad. Ooh wee! If I held that office, man, that JFK is coming for me because IMF and all that, I'm flipping it upside down. What I will flip upside down for the world to see. Who are you? Where you come from? Unless you got an army or some assassins, shut the hell up and don't ever tell another country what it should do with its citizens. Smash that like and share. And remember one thing, folks.
We're not gonna take it.
What's that? No, I don't believe you. Yeah, now I believe you. All right, just remember that. We won't. See y'all tomorrow.